Our sermon text for this morning comes from Isaiah chapter 65, verses 17 to 25. God is speaking through the prophet Isaiah. For I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in what I am creating. For I am about to create Jerusalem as a joy, and its people as a delight. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and delight in my people. No more shall the sound of weeping be heard in it, or the cry of distress. No more shall there be in it an infant who lives but a few days, or an old person who does not live out a lifetime. For one who dies at 100 will be considered a youth, and one who falls short of 100 will be considered accursed. They shall build houses and inhabit them, and shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For like the days of a tree shall the days of my people be, and my chosen shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, or bear children for calamity. For they shall be offspring blessed by the Lord, and their descendants as well. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall come together. The lion shall eat straw like the ox, but the serpent, its food, shall be dust. They shall not hurt or destroy on my holy mountain, says the Lord. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Let us pray. Creator God, open our hearts and minds to hear what you would have us hear. May we find our hope in you alone. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable to you, our rock and our redeemer. In Jesus' name, amen. God is the giver of hope in a broken world. God is creating a new heaven and a new earth. We can hope for a future with no more tears, a future of rejoicing. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines hope like this. Hope is to cherish a desire with anticipation, to expect with confidence. If to hope means to expect something, it must mean that things are not as they should be, or at least not as they could be. In a vision of the future given to us through Isaiah, we find God speaking to a people who are hoping for a change in their situation. Isaiah lived and spoke God's word in a time of great turmoil. The people of Judah were a small nation in a world of great superpowers. They had been tossed between national giants like Assyria, Egypt, and Babylon. Even more concerning, their leaders failed to call upon God for help. At the climax of war, Babylon destroys Judah, tearing down the temple, desecrating their way of life, and driving them away to exile. Things are not as they should be. But it was Judah's rebellion that partly got them into this mess. Now Isaiah asks God to remember and restore his people. And the people remember times of worshiping God in a place that is now only a ruin. In grief and despair, they ask, "Where are you, God? Will you keep your distance from us forever?" Have you ever felt like this? Asking God, "Where are you?" I know that I have. Maybe there's some ruin in your life, something that just did not turn out as planned. A job that once felt life-giving, but now is a chore. A loved one who was once active is now struggling with health. Maybe it's when the news channel, day after day, shows suffering, division, and conflict. Another scandal or a school shooting. We know that there is suffering in our world. We ask, where are you, Lord? I imagine the people of Judah felt this way. They knew that life as they once knew it was over. They wondered how to even be a people. They had no temple to worship in, and no reason to think that they would be restored. They would have felt hopeless. Finally, though, they call on God and God answers. God said, I was ready to be sought out by those who did not ask, to be found by those who did not seek me. I said, here I am, to a nation that did not call my name. You see, God did not forget God's people. They forgot God. As one commentator, Paul Hansen, has said, if there was to be restoration of health, denial had to be replaced with an honest acknowledgement of responsibility. It was not God's indifference, but the people's rebellion that caused the nation to stumble and fall. When God feels far away, it is often when we are not being fully honest with ourselves. This is true, at least for me. A few years ago, my husband and I, we moved to Denver. My husband had a long-term dream of teaching martial arts, and Denver had a live-in program where he would learn the business and the art. So we packed up our little Toyota and we headed across the states. After only a short time, the experience felt kind of wrong. We lived in the back of a busy martial arts school with several other students, and the leaders were constantly changing their expectations. To be honest, I spent most of my time avoiding the school altogether. I was simply ignoring the conflict. I was wondering what plan God could have for this, but at the same time, I was not being honest. I was not remembering to go to God and ask which way was the way forward. Like the people, though, I remembered what was forgotten, that our identity is rooted in God. Isaiah reminds us that we are God's people. For Judah, the loss of their land or even the temple could not change this. God reminded them that they were not lost. There was still a plan for them. God, the creator and ruler of the universe, has a plan for all of creation. God is creating a new heaven and a new earth, one we can see if we are looking. There is much to mourn, but God is creating a time when there will be no more weeping. In the midst of destruction, there will be houses, vineyards, and livelihood. People are dying, but God is creating a time when there will be life into old age, a time when death will be no more. Children will be brought into the world with purpose, and there will be gladness and rejoicing forever. God's creating something so good that even the wolf will no longer need to hunt the lamb, but the two will eat together. For Judah, this means God has not abandoned them. In fact, God says, before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. God has a plan for the future so full that the pain of the past will be forgotten. The rebellion, suffering, brokenness will not come to mind. God has a plan for restoration that will include the reordering of all creation. A restoration so complete that it includes us. God cares for us so much that before we even call, God answers. As the song goes, before a word is on my tongue, Lord, you know it completely. God cares for us so deeply that we are included in God's vision for the future. Even today, we are a part of God's plan. You are, I am. As one commentator commentator from the Feasting on the Word has said, the message of hope is more perceivable than ever, with God breaking into the world in the person of Christ in order to restore humanity's relationship to the divine. God has opened a window by the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, a window through which we can see the new heaven and the new earth, one where death and sorrow have already been defeated. A window that allows us to find hope in the murky realities of life. I once heard a story. It was about a girl who was in a Nazi concentration camp. In that horrible place, somehow she found the hope to persevere. In a place so filled with death that the birds would not even fly overhead. Where hopelessness drove some to escape by running into the electrical fence that imprisoned them. She sees hope in the smallest of places, in a dandelion that is pushing up and growing through a crack in the cement. If that weed had the audacity to survive, maybe she could hope to do the same. Likewise, a few weeks ago, the General Presbyter, Kathy Ulrich, was here sharing about her mission trip to Syria. She told us about children who would draw with chalk around bullet holes in a city of rubble. This is an act of hope in an otherwise bleak reality. There is a mission of hope here at Poland Presbyterian Church. In the ministry to feed the hungry in this area and the surrounding, hope is being spread through the ministry of the food pantry in partnerships with Salvation Army and the Mahoney Valley Rescue Mission. The vision of a new heaven and a new earth is a glimpse of hope in harsh reality. It is also an invitation to actively engage in God's reordering of creation. We are invited to hear, to see, to hope for, and to participate in God's new creation. God is reordering the world even in the smallest, most mundane spaces, like our daily lives. We participate when we live our lives looking for God's new order, when we look out for our neighbor, feed the hungry, sit with the grieving, or love on those who are sick. We partner with God when we offer respect to the outsider, when we have patience with our families, when we extend forgiveness to those who have hurt us, or kind humility to a stranger. We become agents of hope when we stand for justice, even when it is not the popular thing to do. We partner with God when we let the reality of God's love transform our lives. The commentator, Paul Hansen, expresses God's invitation like this. God's invitation is the persistent call to servanthood, that we might be instruments of God's redemption within the day-to-day structures of society. Within the places we find ourselves, God calls us to persevere in hope. We are held by the promise that when we live by God's way, it will not be in vain, but will be used to the renewal of all creation. As the commentator from Feasting on the Word has said, through our restored relationship with God, we are given a new lens of hope by which we can experience a foretaste of the new creation. This is the good news for us. By Christ, the window of hope has been opened. We only need to look to see and participate to know that the small places is where the new heaven and the new earth are already springing forth. Let us pray. Now to the giver of hope, the one who by the power at work within us is able to do far more abundantly than all we can ask or imagine. To God be the glory in the church and in Jesus Christ to all generations, forever and ever. Amen.